the first match on the qualification pathway to the 2027 World Test Championship kicks off tonight in Galle, Sri Lanka, where Sri Lanka will host Bangladesh. On Friday morning at 5 a.m., India will take on England at Leeds. And next Wednesday, West Indies will get their campaign going with their first match at Bridgetown, Barbados, where they will play Australia. This morning, I have decided to pick my playing 11 for that match next week, Wednesday. Although it is 9 days away, I am so very confident that this will be the 11 that will be playing next Wednesday. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the #1 cricket channel in the Caribbean. I appreciate your company as always, and I thank you for being here. I look forward to our interactions. Now, the West Indies cricket squad was announced a few days ago. These are the players that were called up to the West Indies cricket squad. Ruston Chase is the captain. Jamel Warrican, vice captain. Kevlin Anderson, Craig Brathwaite, John Campbell, Jaden Seals, Casey Carter, Justin Greaves, Sheob, Tevin Imlach, Alzara Joseph, Shamar Joseph, Brandon King, Ewan Lane, Mikel Louis, and Anderson Phillips. Now, from that 16-man squad, I am certain, and I am going to say that 99% of you will agree with me that these players must play in the playing 11. Ruston Chase, of course, is a captain. Jamel Warrican have been outstanding with the ball, and he has been the vice captain. Craig Brathwaite, whatever you say about Craig Brathwaite's captaincy, we must recognize and appreciate that he is the only batsman in the West Indies team that is averaging above 30. He must play for me. And I am sure that the vast majority of you will agree that Craig Brathwaite must play. Jaden Seals, Alzara Joseph, Shamar Joseph, those three have been very effective for us in Test cricket. You would not consider this West Indies bowling attack an elite bowling attack. You would not consider it great. But these three, along with Warricans, have been world class over the past 18 months. And there's no reason why those four bowlers will not play. Obviously, Tevin Imlach will be the keeper. So from the 16-man squad, 7 of those 16 are guaranteed a place to play on next Wednesday. Among those 7 are 4 bowlers. Therefore, we do not need another bowler, especially that the captain will come in as the 5th bowling option. I do not see the captain batting at number 8 and is one of the bowlers, because there's no way you can drop any of those 4 bowlers to put in someone else in number 8, unless it is someone who was not in the squad, who I would have probably had in the squad. So for me, those 7 goes. Now, before I select the 4 batsmen, because clearly it's now 4 batsmen, because I would have selected my 4 main bowlers and my 5th bowling option, which is a captain. And in so doing, I've also selected one of the openers. Before I go to the 4 other batsmen that will make up the playing 11, let's eliminate those who I'm certain will not be in the playing 11 unless there are mitigating circumstances such as an injury or somebody have to leave for personal reason. These 4 will not play. Ewan Lane and Anderson Phillips Although I have said in the past that these two are very good, very good. And when I looked at Joanna Lane, I'm very happy that the West Indies bowling future appears to be in good hand. Joanna Lane is a potential world-class bowler. Now, Anderson Phillip, I think, is right up there on the shoulder of Shamar Alzari and Jaden Seeds. However, I don't see him getting in ahead of these three at this time. They have been performing very well for the West Indies. Now, Justin Greaves. I do not see a place for Justin Greaves in this playing 11. In fact, I personally would not even have had him in the squad, because I cannot see Justin Greaves batting in the top 6, and there's no way he's going to play as a bowler batting at number 8. So clearly, there's no place in this team for Justin Greaves. With Ruston Chase in this team, I think it effectively pushed Justin Greaves out of the playing 11, and for me, out of the squad. Cleveland Anderson. I know that Darren Sammy said that Cleveland Anderson will stabilize the middle order. But no one can imagine Cleveland Anderson batting in that middle order ahead of Shea Hope, Brandon King, Casey Carty, Mikel Louis, or John Campbell. No one can imagine. So I clearly, in my mind, I am convinced that those fours are not in the reckoning for a place in the match next week, Wednesday. I know the coach will come out, or his PR team will come out and say everybody is fighting for a place. But we know that that is PR, and that is to keep the team motivated. For these players, Anderson, Greaves, Lane, and Phillip, they are open against hope that they will get a play. But they themselves knows deep down in their heart that they will not be in that playing 11 unless they are mitigating circumstances. Now, let's look at the 5 batsmen who are fighting for 4 places. First of all, and this is what gives me the second biggest headache when I was trying to select this playing 11. The first one, though, is the bowlers. When I look at that tail with Alzari Joseph possible batting at number 8, it's a very long tail. But despite all my deliberations, I could not see a way not to play these 4 bowlers. And so that was the one that caused me the biggest challenge and caused me the longest time to come to a conclusion. But the second thing that took me the longest time to come to a conclusion was whether to play John Campbell or Mikel Louis to open the batting with Craig Brathwaite. Therefore, I decided to look at the numbers for both players. And I also decided to look at the peripheral things. And when I look at the peripheral things, John Campbell is ahead in all the peripheral things. Like 1, he provided a left-handed option to partner the right-handed Craig Brathwaite at the top of the order. 2, at the time when he was suspended for breaching of the for breaking the rules in anti-doping, he was the West Indies opener. And 3, from their youth days, he has a long-standing opening relationship with Craig Brathwaite. So all of those things are in John Campbell's favor. When I look at the numbers and I look at their test record and also their performances in the regional 4-day tournament and in the South Africa A-team series, John Campbell, as you see there, he has played 40 innings compared to Mikel Louis 18. Therefore, more experience. He has scored 888 runs compared to Mikel Louis 358. His average of 26.11 exceeded Mikel Louis by over 6 0.23. So that's a substantial amount. Whenever the average is above 5, one usually considers it to be substantial. Probably when it is 2 or 3, then you look at other things. But clearly, John Campbell has been more productive in his 40 innings than Mikel Louis has been in his 18 innings. When you look at the strike rate, it is 52.17, which will argue well in the favor of John Campbell ahead of Mikel Louis, especially we know how slow Craig Brathwaite tends to bat. The highest score for John Campbell in his 40 innings as a test batsman is 68, compared to Mikel Louis, which is 97. Also, Mikel Louis have scored 2 half-centuries in 18 innings, compared to John Campbell 3 half-centuries in 40 innings. It's therefore mean that Mikel Louis is scoring an half-century every 9 innings, while John Campbell is scoring an half-century every 13 innings. Now we want to pause there because the first 4 is in favor of John Campbell. More test experience, more runs, better average, a better strike rate. Now with John Campbell, highest test score being 68, and Mikel Louis, highest test score being 97. Do you go for consistency or do you go for best performance? And I can draw the comparison between 2 great Jamaican sprinters, Asafa Powell and Usain Bolt. Asafa Powell consistently run below 10 seconds. They call him the sub 10-second king. I think he probably run under 10 seconds for the 100 meter, close to or over 100 times in his career. He consistently run under 10 seconds. But on the big occasions, when you need somebody to deliver, Usain Bolt is able or was able to run faster than Asafa Powell on those big occasions. Is this what we want? So this was one of the things that I considered. Yes, John Campbell is more consistent. Yes, John Campbell is more experienced. Yes, John Campbell have a higher strike rate. Yes, John Campbell has a good relationship with Craig Brathwaite from their youth days. Yes, John Campbell provide that left and right hand partnership at the top of the order. Yes, he was the West Indies opener when he was suspended and have come back to the regional tournament and made 517 runs. Is he the man to get that place? Or is it Mikel Louis, who have shown that he can score more half-centuries quicker than John Campbell, and that at his highest score is also higher than John Campbell's highest score? Therefore, the question is, Mikel Louis at his best is better than John Campbell at his best, although John Campbell performed more consistently than Mikel Louis. So those were the 2 things that I have to contemplate when I decided to go with Mikel Louis ahead of John Campbell. Another thing that I contemplated when I made this decision is Casey Carty. If I select John Campbell to open with Craig Brathwaite, will Mikel Louis fits in at number 3? Or vice versa? If Mikel Louis opens with Craig Brathwaite, does John Campbell fits in at number 3? Or Casey Carty, although being very mediocre in Test cricket, that Casey Carty, having played 10 innings, as you see at the bottom of the screen there, has scored only 179 runs, averaging 17.9 in his 10 Test innings as a Test batsman. His strike rate of 44.19 is below that of John Campbell, and it is 3 ahead of Mikel Louis, which falls in the ballpark, which say that there's not much difference. If you look at his regional first class season this year, 29 batsmen score more runs than Casey Carty in red ball cricket. He only scored 313 runs. You saw how many Mikel Louis scored in the red ball version this year, 429 runs, both of them batting 11 times. So too is John Campbell. So is it Campbell and Louis, or is it Campbell and Carty, or is it Louis and Carty? Those are the questions. And you look now at Casey Carty performances in the one-day international scene, and he has been doing very well. And you reason that, does his performance in one-day international cricket tip the balance in his favor? Now, since the 2023 ODI World Cup qualifiers, Casey Carty has been our best ODI batsman. Despite that, however, before now, he was failing terrible in red ball cricket. But the difference now is that he's batting much better in ODI cricket than he was doing then. His average of close to 50, which are a result of a number of centuries this late last year and this year. I think he has scored 4 centuries in his last 3 ODI series. That is unprecedented. And although he was failing in red ball cricket before then, his recent run in one-day international cricket is nothing like we have seen from him in the past. So as a result of his one-day international form, do I slot in Casey Carty at number 3? And if I'm slotting in Casey Carty at number 3, who do I open with Craig Brathwaite? Will it be John Campbell or will it be Mikel Louis? Sheo and Brandon King will play. The coach said he has identified a special role for Brandon King. And also, you will not invite Sheo to the squad and put him on the bench. So those two will play. It's the decision is who open with Craig Brathwaite and who bats at number 3. After all of that deliberation, and this is my batting order for the first test match. Craig Brathwaite with John Campbell. Casey Carty, Shea Hope. At 5 will be Brandon King. 6, Ruston Chase, Tevin Imlach, the wicket-keeper batsman, Alzara Joseph, Jamel Warrican, Jaden Seals, and Shamar Joseph. It is a long tail, but I guarantee you, I am not one who is into forecasting when I pick my playing 11. But if anyone wants to use this as forecasting, I am telling you, this is the playing 11 that will play the first test match for the West Indies. Good morning again, everyone, and welcome. I'm happy to see you here, the champion. Good morning to you, Reyes. Include the thing about mathematics, we have to understand that we cannot include Moti and Lewis because they are not in the squad. So for it to include Moti and Lewis, it will be unrealistic because they are not in the squad. And we have to remain realistic because we are not here. It's not a fantasy 11 we are picking. And so they will not be in the playing 11 because they are already not in the 16-man squad. The squad have been selected already. Mathematics. Thank you. I appreciate your comments. Good morning, Jamur Smalls. Thank you. Good morning, Steve Russell. I think Brathwaite should open with someone else. But Louis, somewhere else. So Jamor Small think that his countryman, Mikel Lewis, should be in the playing 11. However, he doesn't think that he should open. And so I would have shown you my playing 11, Jamor Small. I'll show it again. I will show my playing 11 again. Here's my playing 11. I really do not have a place. After all the consideration, I have to make a decision, and I came down in favor of Jan Camber and Casey Carty to open with Brathwaite and to bat at number 3. So that was my decision. Larouk said, so we thank you, Larouk. Good morning and welcome to you. My played 11 said Goalworks. I have not seen your playing 11. So my playing 11, John Camber, Craig Brathwaite, Casey Carty, Shea Ope, Raston Chase, Justin Greaves, Tevin Imlach, Warwick and Joseph Seals and Joseph. So he's playing Justin Greaves. Goalworks is playing Justin Greaves ahead of Brandon King. Well, Goldworks, you'd have seen my playing 11, and I'm telling you, Brandon King will be in the playing 11. You know, I'm telling you, and you can have a bet on that. The batting looks strong, but I have reservation for the bowling. Why would you have reservation for the bowling? It's easy to say that you have reservation for the bowling because that can be said. However, what's the justification? Travis Brathwaite is saying the 11 is missing a fourth seamer. It would be a good 11 if the pitch offers some turn. Travis Brathwaite, again, that is something that we can say. And it's a long time I haven't seen Travis Brathwaite. Anyone can say we need a fourth seamer. But enhance the discussion, Travis Brathwaite, and tell us how you would fit the fourth seamer in that playing 11 based on the release from Darren Sammy, based on the players in the squad, based on the performance of the bowlers in the squad. How would you fit that fourth seamer in? Are you just going to fit a fourth seamer in for fitting a fourth seamer in for fitting one in that sake? And who would that be, that fourth seamer? And why would that fourth seamer justify his place in the team? I do not see any fourth seamer justifying them place in this team unless we are going to go with Joanna Lane or my choice, Anderson Phillip, and that would make the tail much, much longer. So Brathwaite deserve a change to complete 100 tests. I think you mean a chance. He deserves a chance to complete 100 tests, but he cannot justify his pick on the team. Why though, Patrick Lambert? And I've made the comment that he's the only batsman in this squad that is averaging 30 in Test cricket. So why would you drop the only batsman in the squad that is averaging 30 in Test cricket? I don't think that he deserves a chance to play 100 tests. My position is that you have to earn it. And I think that he has earned the privilege to be in this West Indies playing 11 for this series. He continues to be our best opener ever since Chris Gayle retired. And there's no one else in the squad that is averaging above 30. So you have to play your best batsman. We cannot, and I've been saying it for about a week now, we cannot make the same mistake that we made with Bravo, Blackwood, Bonner, and Mayers. We cannot make that same mistake when those guys were averaging 30 and we bash them and bring in some other players who are averaging 17, 20, and 21. We bash guys who are averaging more than 10 above these players that we brought in. We must not go down that road and make that mistake again. So for me, Patrick Lambert, Chase, Craig Brathwaite is always in. Sheldon McGuan is saying, Ruston Chase don't look like a captain. Thank you for expressing your opinion. We appreciate it and respect it, even if we don't agree, but we respect it. And by the way, I have said it on a number of occasions, and everyone in this chat know that Chase would not have been my captain, but everyone also knows that he is now the captain, so I have to support the captain. Based on how he play in England, said Sheldon McGann, based on what? He don't look like a captain based on how he plays in England. I can't know what you are thinking if you do not explain yourself. So just write in a few words and to expect me to interpret you or to know what you are thinking. I can't, because I'm going to interpret you incorrectly, and then you're going to say that's not what you meant. You know, you realize how long it took me, although I never wanted to take so long, but how long it took me to explain my process, my decisions. So I cannot interpret what you're saying with just a few words like that. Good morning, Sheldon. I would have Greaves in as a fourth seamer option in place for King or Carty. Also, if the pitch is good for fast bowling, we can replace Warrican with Anderson and let Chase be the spinner. So you are prepared to drop our most lethal bowler over the past here, despite the performances of the seamers. Warrican, match for match, is bowling better than the other three seamers. For me, I'm playing Warrican on any pitch. Well, if you decide that you'll play Greaves above Carty and King, fair enough. I would not. I don't see Greaves is not a potential wicket-taking bowler with any consistency, and you can look at the numbers. But if that's your choice, and he averages only 21 with the bat, although Carty averaged 17 and King have never played a test. But there's no way Greaves can bat close to Brandon King. You know, but if it's your choice to drop him over one, and you're not, and Travis Brathwaite, if you're going to drop one of those, you need to say which one you will drop, because you are decisive in putting in Justin Greaves. So say which one you will drop. I don't have an issue if you decide to drop one and play Justin Greaves, because you're acting as your own selector and I have to respect your views. But I would not go that way. You know. Donald Popo, good morning to you. It's a pleasure having you here. OJ said, good morning, Mr. Brown. That the same 11 choose Greaves maybe could play depending on the pitch to strengthen the batting. Okay, what would you play Greaves over? You can't play him over. I will not play him. I said that already. But the only person you could probably play Greaves over is Carty. You know, bat Brandon King at 3 and Greaves at 6. You know, that's the probably, but I don't know. I would not play Greaves. Greaves is not an effective bowler. Don't get carried away by his long run-up and his pretty delivery. He's not an effective bowler. He's not a wicket-taking option. He has not proved that in his 6 test matches. So if I'm going to play Greaves, it is based on his batting. And he's averaging only 21. Chase averaged 26, and Chase is a captain. Shea Hope averaged 25. And you're not going to call Shea Hope and don't play him. And the coach said that he has a special role for Brandon King. So if you're going to drop Greaves, if you're going to play Greaves, it's maybe only for Carty. But I can't make up your mind for you. I gave you my playing 11. So give me more information, and so we can know your thought process. Thank you, J.E. J.E. said, this 11 makes sense. The only switch I will make is that King will bat at 4 and Hope will bat at 5. And that is something that I did consider, J.E. And I was even going to say it, and I decided not to say it when I was listing my batting order, that King or Hope, anyone at 4 or 5. So that's okay with me, JE. I am in total agreement for that. Can't wait for next week to watch some test cricket, said Mr. Casanova. I am never dropping Warrican. Neither me, Mr. Casanova. No way. I'm not dropping Warrican. It's not about how you look. It's really about how you perform. Yes, he needs to move a little faster in the field, of course, but it's not about how you look. He plays on any wicket, just like the Aussies always plays Nathan Lyons on any pitch. And in the past, Warrican have been treated unfairly. This is something that I think I said up to yesterday or probably on Saturday, that Warrican, after leaving Sri Lanka, where he bowled West Indies to a series leveling victory, he was dropped for the series in Zimbabwe and South Africa, and that was unfortunate. And I think that was a wrong move from Andre Kohli. Patrick Lambert said, Alec can only blame himself. I saw it was coming, but he was taking it for granted by always giving away his wicket. Patrick Lambert, despite all the conversation around Alec Athanaze and all the potential that he said he has, if you really look at Alec Athanaze's numbers, he has been a failure. He has not been a top performer. He averages, I think, 24 or 26 in regional 4-day cricket. He has one good season, and that's it. That's it. Since 2018, one good season, averaged 20 in regional 4-day cricket. He has not lived up to the expectation that surrounded him. That's what expected him. You would say that he has not lived up to his potential. And won a series was not going to cut it, especially those won a series did not resulted in victories for the West Indies team. So, as I said, he only has himself to blame. He needs to score a lot of runs and more consistently. Greaves is just there for me as an all-rounder. So how do you classify Greaves as an all-rounder, Mr. Casanova? What makes Greaves an all-rounder? What makes him an all-rounder? I don't know. I don't know. We are diluting all-rounders. When we're talking about all-rounders in my book, you talk about Ian Botham, Imran Khan, Richard Radley, Garfield Sobers. What's the number 3? Jack Callis. Those in my book are all-rounders. My book, if you want to be an all-rounder, in whatsoever form of cricket you are playing, if you are playing regional 4-day cricket in the West Indies, and you want to be classified as an all-rounder for first-class cricket, you need to play at least 20 matches, and your batting average is higher than your bowling average. I am not in this bowling all-rounder thing and batting all-rounder thing. That is diluting. What an all-rounder is. Not for me. That's not my standard. Is there any chance that they asked Hope to wicket keep? I noticed that Hope kept wicket in the only first-class match he played. When did Hope play a first-class match? When was the last time Hope played a first-class match, Travis Brathwaite? Remind us. Really remind us. Except for playing for Yorkshire, was it last year or the year before? I think the year before, 2023. Please remind us, Travis Brathwaite, when was the last time that Shea Hope played a first-class match? Please, I can't recall. When was the last time he played a first-class match in the West Indies? It does not matter what a player does. Sammy has his plan, and it's either you fit in or not, Sheldon Simmet. Sheldon Simmet, I'm telling you, Sammy might have his plan. But if Sammy picks a playing 11 that doesn't make sense, he will have to answer to me. He will have to answer to this community. And I've always said that I'm not Sammy out, I'm Sammy in. And I'm not saying that he has to go with the playing 11 that I selected. But if he picks up playing 11 that doesn't make sense and West Indies lose the series, that will be the end of Darren Sammy. C. Debray will either have to fire him or he resign immediately. He must pick a playing 11 that is rational and is justifiable. Yes, he's the head coach, but he's not a lord unto himself. He has to do things that is rational. So I don't agree with you that he will just do anything. He has to do things that is rational. And Juna Benjamin said Sammy is the most powerful man in West Indies cricket. So OTGC saying Craig, Canberra, Lewis. Well, yeah, please be decisive. You have to be decisive with your playing 11, OTG. Sammy doing what he wants. He can do what he wants, but I'm telling you, he has to be rational. I'm okay with Alec Asane's drop, but Kevin Hodge shocked me. Well, Kevin Hodge is still just averaging about 21 also. Will that? Greaves will play unless you're going with just 4 bowlers. But my playing 11 have 5 bowlers OTCG. My playing 11 have 5 bowlers. Big up yourself, Shango. Respect, man. Luck is on our side because Steve Smith have been ruled out of the series against us. That is good for us. That is good. That's a big advantage because Steve Smith averages more than 100 against the West Indies in Test cricket. More than 100 Steve Smith averages against the West Indies in Test cricket. So that is definitely good. Big up yourself, Lance Blake. It's a long time I have not seen you. Yes. He played 1 match in this year, regional first class for Barbados. How many runs he made, how many catch he took, and who he played against? Please tell us, Travis Brathwaite. Hope played 1 match for Barbados this year. So please give us the information. Remember Trinidad beat Barbados in 2 days, Mr. Brown. Hope played that game, said JMT Border. Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel it's a squad we can work with. Yes. I remember the match now, and they had was to drop. The only way that Hope could get in the team was to drop Boucher, who was the keeper, because Drakes was batting well. They could not have dropped Kevin Wickham because he was batting well also in the series. Craig Brathwaite and McCaskey was opening. So yes, I think that's the only way they could have got open the team to play him as a keeper. I remember the match right now, but he never did anything. They run him away both times quickly. They knock him over. Yeah, I remember the match quite now. But that's what you have to do. Tell me, and the computer just chipped in and remembered things. I think O played a first class. Yes, somebody had pointed out that he played against Trinidad and it came back to the computer, and so I remember. I'm a reservoir of knowledge when it comes to cricket, but then sometimes it needs to be triggered. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It was a pleasure being here. And before I go again, I will just put my playing 11 on the screen so that everyone can see my playing 11 for the first test match. So Craig Brathwaite, this is my batting order. And as someone pointed out that Brandon King could be at 4 and Shea up at 5, I have no issues with that. I have no challenge with that. So Brathwaite, Campbell, Carty, Shea, Brandon King, Raston Chase, Tevin Imlap, and that very long tail. But we have seen where Warwick have made runs in the past. Shamar Joseph, Jaden Seals, and Alzari Joseph have all made runs in the past. So thank you all for tuning in. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. And I'll see you tomorrow morning for the live watch-along of the West Indies women versus South Africa women in the third and final one-day international with the series locked at 1-1. Let us be here and support our West Indies women. Bye for now. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Bless.